Welcome to the President's Podcast, the latest in the Difference Maker series from Chartered Accountants worldwide. We will be addressing trends and reflections from the World Congress of Accountants and seeing how the profession can play an instrumental role to enable sustainable economies for the future. In every episode, we'll feature a president from one of our member institutes to give their unique insights into the important role the accountancy profession plays as a protector of public interest. In today's episode, I'm joined by Kate Boorer, former president of Chartered Accountants Australia and New Zealand. Welcome, Kate. How did you become a chartered accountant and eventually president of your institute?
Yeah, hi, Antje. Fabulous to be here and fabulous to be having this conversation. I think my journey in terms of being part of the profession here in Australia and New Zealand really started back when I left my corporate role. And I was looking for ways, I guess, to build network, to engage in a broader professional community. So I started to get involved in lots of different events with CA ANZ. And then the opportunity came up to be involved in our regional councils. So Sydney is my home, New South Wales my home state. So I was able to put my hat in the ring and get on that regional council. And that was back in 2015. I think it was 2017, I had the opportunity to be chair of that regional council. And then in 2019, each of our regional councils has a representative on our global CA ANZ council. And so I was nominated by my peers at regional council to sit on that CA ANZ council. And our vice presidents and presidents are effectively elected from that big council. And so it was 2020 when I was elected vice president, and I had the absolute privilege of being president last year in 2022, which of course meant I went over to ACOA over in Mumbai, India, and what an incredible experience.
Fabulous. And what led you to choose to become a chartered accountant in the first place?
Yeah, I think, when I was making the choice, and I think our decisions around career are made, in that sort of late high school stage. And on some basis, I always laugh a little bit because we're not very informed, or at least I didn't feel very informed when I was making the decision. My mum had worked actually as an accounts receivable clerk in business, and then ended up working and stepping into an SMP practice, so a small medium practice, so as the practice manager. And so I had some, I guess, proximity to accounting. My best friend's dad was a chartered accountant as well, so I guess it was within my world. And I think when I was looking at what I would study at university, I was kind of tossing up between law, because I was a huge fan of all the law shows in my late teens, and then accounting as probably a fallback piece. And ultimately, I didn't get the marks to get into first year law, so I took accounting, and part of that first year accounting degree was a biz law subject. And I've got to say, about a couple of weeks into that, I was very grateful that I'd chose accounting, or I'd taken accounting over a law degree. And I think I've really never looked back since then. For me, the opportunity to be part of this profession, to be a chartered accountant, has been incredible in terms of the opportunities it's provided. And I think, when I've traveled around both, locally in Australia, New Zealand, and more globally around the world, the opportunities where this profession can take you, both in terms of functions that you can work in, organisations you can be part of, but also places you can live and work, is really incredible.
If we turn now and think about WCAA, the World Congress of Accountants that was held in Mumbai last year, which of the 8 themes that featured there really resonated most with you, and why?
So I'll give you 2. The first, for me, really, this conversation around global collaboration for inclusive growth, something I'm personally very passionate about. It's something that my entrepreneurial career pathway now has followed. But I think, WCAA was an incredible opportunity to see the true diversity and scale of our profession across the world. And I think sometimes you don't actually get the magnitude of that until you are in a location or in a conference center with 6,000 odd plus colleagues, and you get to see the diversity of country, the diversity of language, the diversity just of conversation that comes when you're in those sorts of rooms. And when you experience that, the follow-on from that was it just makes so much sense. We have so much in common globally. And I think as a profession, we have so much opportunity to really leverage each other's strengths, leverage the resources that we have, and to really bring all of that together to be able to, really fast track, go further, faster, make bigger contributions to, the organisations, the communities, the clients, the economies within which we live and work. So I think there is just an incredible opportunity to bring all of the members of our profession together in service of what I do think is really common goals across the world.
That's really interesting, because I want to turn now to what you believe the key challenges and opportunities are facing the profession and how they can be tackled and taken forward.
Yeah, so I think, the one I'll really centre around is the attractiveness of the profession. I think my whole time being involved in the governance ecosystem of Chartered Accountants Australia, New Zealand, conversations from members in rural and regional areas, but also in the metro CBD areas, has talked about how do we attract young talent, particularly to the profession. How do we showcase the opportunities that the profession provides? How do we really connect them within and probably bust some of the stereotypes that still absolutely exist, particularly in that high school stage of development for students. And so for me, there's lots of competition at the moment around segments or functions or industries, wanting talent that traditionally potentially would have come down the chartered accountant pathway. And when I say that, I think about STEM, lots of great organisations, great industries vying for all of this incredible talent. So I think that's a challenge, because it is, those industries present fabulous opportunities as well. But I think, correspondingly, it really is a huge opportunity for us in our profession to showcase the diversity of career that our profession provides. I have the privilege of talking with so many of our members, but then members of our global profession, particularly over the course of my year as president. And the diversity of role, of organisation, of location, of conversation that they have over the course of their days and their weeks, and then more broadly over the course of their career, is really incredible. And I think we've got a real opportunity to be able to bring particularly, younger people closer to that, but equally those that are at a mid-career stage and who potentially are looking at pivoting their career. Our profession offers a great opportunity for those looking for certainty, for those looking to, make a real difference, and also, for those that are looking to progress their career. And so I think we've got an opportunity to take some of those messages and those stories out to the younger generation, but also those who are mid-career and looking for new and exciting things. I think, the other challenge, but also opportunity is, when we think about the conversation around diverse careers and the opportunities that are available to members of our profession to make a difference, there's probably never been a more exciting time, with the conversation around sustainability and the connections that has with our profession. There's never been a more exciting time in terms of what that means, the sort of work that we can be involved in, the sorts of projects that, firms or members working in commerce can be involved in with their own organisations as well. And so, we've got an opportunity to really get out there and lead the conversation, to be part of that conversation, to leverage the skills, capabilities and experience that we have in service of those sustainability goals, and to really be the trusted advisor to those stakeholders as part of that conversation.
So I'm hearing that you're actually quite optimistic about the future of the profession.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's not without its challenges. As I think the last few years has shown the level of uncertainty and change and, regulation, all those sorts of things. I think that seems to be part of the path, albeit magnitude in a whole different way in the last couple of years with the pandemic. But I think equally, it excites me when I connect and hear the stories, and especially when I hear the difference that members of our profession make, whether it's with the clients they work with, whether it's working on, sustainability reporting in the organisations, that they are part of or they lead. There is just so much value and opportunity that is available for those that really want to get in and make that difference and make that contribution.
So if we pop back to World Congress of Accountants for a moment, if I may, is obviously an opportunity to feel part of something much bigger. As you said, being in a venue with 6,000 plus chartered accountants from all over the world is a sight to behold in its own right. But what do you think the benefits are of being part of a global professional family like chartered accountants worldwide? And then, of course, off the back of that, attending World Congress.
So I would absolutely 100% recommend at some point in your career coming along to a World Congress of Accountants. As I said, I was privileged to attend last year, 2022 in Mumbai, India, and it was incredible. ICAI were just such generous and spirited hosts. It really was an incredible experience, which is hard to put into words, actually. But I think being part of this global family means that we connect with colleagues who are like-minded. And when I say that, I talk about a common foundation of integrity and trust and ethics, a common foundation of generosity in terms of willingness to share, to connect and help. And I think a common foundation of a genuine desire to make a difference in whatever industry, organisation, community that we are part of. And I think these qualities collectively are incredibly magical, really, because as I've travelled the world and I've met members who are colleagues of our CA family worldwide, even though many times we've never met, perhaps have met on LinkedIn, but never met in person, never had a conversation. Often it feels like I'm meeting an old friend, and very quickly we move from kind of what may be a little bit informal introductions to a fabulous, warm, generous conversation. And I think being part of that sort of network that is global and provides you access to global conversations, to global thought leadership, to global opportunities, that in and of itself is priceless, because really you have a global career path.
Becoming a chartered accountant, I think, almost provides you with a ticket to ride, doesn't it? It opens up the world in terms of work, really. With a qualification like chartered accountancy, you can pretty much work anywhere, can't you?
Yeah, I always talk about it's a passport to live and work anywhere in the world. It's a passport to make a difference in really any function in a business. So many of my colleagues, I started my career in KPMG in audit. And when I look at those colleagues, where they now work, the sorts of roles they're in, the sorts of contributions they're making, the projects, the organisations they're in, there is such diversity. I've got colleagues who, now work in technology, who now work over in procurement or risk culture. It really, for me, it's such an incredible foundation in terms of building skill, capability, experience. And it's the skills that you obtain through obtaining your designation that allows you then to take those and transfer that into almost any sort of function, business, or opportunity that may be present or available to you.
So now, if I may, Kate, I'd like to throw you a bit of a curveball. I'd like to know what the first record was you ever bought and what made you choose it.
Oh, goodness. I have to think about this one a little bit. I think it was, I can't remember how old I was, Antje, but I'm pretty sure it was Kylie Minogue days. And so it was one of those singles records. And I think it might have been Got to Be Certain. So it certainly wasn't one of her chart toppers, but I'm pretty sure it was Got to Be Certain. And really, Kylie obviously is Australian and one of our sweethearts. And I was a huge fan when she first came or first recorded her first song and have been ever since. So I'm a long-time fan and listener of Kylie, and there's still plenty of her tunes now in my iTunes and Spotify accounts.
Yeah, and in mine as well. I think we all came to her in the UK via neighbours. So it was very definitely sort of for me in the 80s. And so, yes, I'm joining you with the odd Kylie banger in my collection as well. Kate, thank you so much for your time. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. And if you'd like to listen to our President's Reflections, please do head to the Chartered Accountants Worldwide website or to your favourite podcast platform and download the series. Thank you very much for listening. Goodbye.